Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Hartley. I'm one of the advisors on the CSOM Career Advising team, and I'm going to be covering LinkedIn with you. We're going to talk about a couple of handy tips that you can use to upgrade your profile, as well as ways to reach out to alumni and find alumni as the first step. I'm going to be bouncing between this PowerPoint as well as a Google Doc to give you guys an idea of what to do. So think about LinkedIn as your resume that never sleeps. It can be really dynamic for you. You can have media on there with photos. You can have past projects. You can have recommendations on there that anyone who visits your profile will see. So it's a really, really useful tool. So if we jump in between that and then go over to a Google Doc that I have here, let's cover a couple of things on here. So thinking about what your photo should be, you can get that when we're back to campus. You can have that done in MTS in the basement of Campion. They have a photography portrait studio there. They have a calendar, and you can have your photo taken there for LinkedIn. Do try to avoid high school senior portraits, prom photos, or anything where it was obviously cropped. That's a good thing to avoid. So now that we've talked about your profile pic, let's jump back over to the PowerPoint here and talk a little bit about your headline. So the headline is what someone's going to see beside your profile pic. What are the key words? It should be your so what. What matters about what you want to put out there and what you want people to see. So here's a couple of examples. It might run the gamut from everything about what you're interested in, what you're aspiring, career enthusiast, seeking a challenging summer position. That might be one example. Or you might be like Steven, and the goal is ultimately to be able to say incoming intern, incoming, full-time role. That's pretty exciting stuff. Or you could be like Tiffany. Maybe you have a job that's off campus or an internship or even an on-campus work study position that you want to feature as your title. That's another way to go to as well. The main idea is not to let LinkedIn choose your headline for you. Student at Boston College, that's the default. It, screams to employers, you didn't take the time to really think through a headline, and there's a lot of choices that you can put on there. So take the time to do that. And your location and your headline is also changeable. So if down the road you're looking to do an internship in a different city than Boston, Mass, or your hometown, you can actually make that location be changeable, and that can be certainly helpful later on down the road. Let's talk a little bit more about the headline. Here's some examples. You can start off as, a little bit more straightforward. Maybe you're an RA at Boston College, so that's the title that you hold on campus. Maybe with time, as you get into the role, you want to feature some of the critical skills that you get with that, like leadership and providing support to students. Or maybe you want to go with keywords and strengths that you possess. Are you a strong writer? Are you good at editing? Are there things that you want to feature and put out there to employers? Here's a couple other good examples. Think about headlines that might show keywords, interest areas, maybe your role in a student organization, maybe you're a student athlete or you're affiliated with the club teams, or maybe you want to put what your goals are out there to draw in recruiters. This slide gives you a bunch of different options for what to feature with that. The next section on your LinkedIn profile is your about. This is your pitch. What do you want to put out there to the world? Maybe it's your greatest accomplishments. And if you're a younger student, that could pull in some high school things that you did as a senior. Maybe you want to mention what your goals are, what your interests are. You can include images, videos of you in action and different roles that you've held. Or maybe you want to put your resume in there. Think about what are also some findable keywords that are critical, important to the type of work that you want to do. And that's how recruiters stumble on you. That's how they find you, is those keywords. Think about what the recruiter is going to see, right? Below the fold, are they going to click to see more, to keep reading? Oh, maybe, maybe not, most likely. So think about what's shown above that fold. Here's a couple of quick tips with that. Target your audience. This may be a little bit harder as a younger student because you're still trying to figure out who your audience is and exactly what you're interested in. This is something that you might refine over time. Do avoid large blocks of text. Try to stick to the shorter paragraph, couple of sentences, maybe a bulleted list of things. Do proofread carefully. It's really easy, as you can see here, to make a mistake. Do write in the first person rather than referring to Jessica, exhibits, da, 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 da. Try to focus on using I, and do keep it concise. Here's some more examples with that. You can see this is someone who's a senior, so they're able to really throw in multiple focus areas that they're thinking about. What are some of the things that they've done? Great stuff to include as a junior and senior. Here's a younger student, so they're talking about what they're seeking, and that's, an internship where they're able to apply some of the skills that they're learning. Okay, so it can go in either direction with that. So then let's go back to the Google Doc and talk a little bit more about some of the things with your profile. Do know you can actually edit your public profile URL. That's when you are in edit mode. You should see on the right-hand side, we're able to edit that and remove some of the numbers. It looks much nicer on your resume to have that clean link that ends with your name. You can also have your resume uploaded. Just be careful including too much personal information on there, avoiding the address, maybe even avoiding your cell phone number on that, just to be kind of smart. In your contact information, same thing, be smart about what you include in there. And as we're talking about the summary too. We covered that. Looking at background. So this is when you are in edit mode on your LinkedIn profile, you have the option to add a profile section. We're going to talk about that. You'll see under background, there's your experience section. These are the items, the experiences that you've had. Maybe it's leadership roles in the student organization. Maybe it's internships. Maybe it's a basic summer job back home. These are all fair game to include in that experience section. Think about adding media whenever you can. Is there a photo of you in action? Is there a link to the organization? Just some of that more dynamic photo speaks 1,000 words. It really ups your profile. And make sure that you share with Network for your new updates. That can be actually clicked off. So anytime that you edit this section, everyone will get an alert in your network unless you have that turned off. And it's really easy. Once your resume is good to go, you can simply copy in those bullets from your resume and do add in that information so employers who stumble on your profile can see exactly what you did in that role, whether it was a basic job or more of an internship. And again, kind of think with those bullets, the see more, at a certain point, it's going to fall below the fold, the more content that you have underneath a role. So be choosy about what is seen above the see more. Same thing with volunteer. This could be Pulse. This could be things that you do since we've been home in March or will do this summer. Simple volunteer things in your community, or even the For Boston stuff that you would have done back on campus, or service trips. And do include bullets for these resumes, or bullets for these items, these experiences under volunteer. It's really good stuff to feature. You can also include high school volunteer work too, especially if you're looking to go back to your community and it's a well-known organization in your community. That could be something to consider as well. And that's the beauty of LinkedIn. You can include more content than you would on your resume. Education is going to be in the next section on here. You can include your high school if you want to, for sure. Think about also in this section, activities and societies. There's a space to add that right in education. So put it there. Make sure that you do correctly list your major and minor. LinkedIn is going to add, some majors and minors that don't quite exactly match up to what we have in CSOM. So make sure that you're choosing Bachelor of Science. Study abroad can go in this section too as well. Now we talk about the skills and endorsements. This is one of the last sections on there. Skills is what you claim to have. You choose, you add those skills to your profile. Endorsements are what people sort of give you a thumbs up and say, yeah, this person has public speaking as one of their skills, or Excel as one of their skills. And that's something that you can give to others on their profile. It goes directly on there. Accomplishments is another section that you'll see on here. It's publications, certifications, maybe you're HubSpot certified, maybe you end up doing the Bloomberg certification this summer. It can go in that section. Courses, be choosy. What are you putting out there? Think about upper level classes to add in there. Under courses, Projects. This could be a place if you end up doing a personal project this summer because a lot of opportunities were not available this summer 2020. This could be a great place to highlight different projects that you might have done, personal projects, creative stuff too as well. If you do have languages mentioned in this section, be sure that you can conduct an interview in that language. That's a good rule of thumb as a litmus test whether to include that language or not. Organizations, there is a spot here for adding in things that you're affiliated with at BC. You can definitely do that in this section. Just know that it's going to be below the fold, and will employers who are scanning your profile very, very quickly, will they click to see more? Maybe, maybe not. So that's why making sure that you have in your education section those activities mentioned under Boston College. One of the best things that you can do to add a little oomph to your profile is requesting recommendations. So perhaps that's from a past faculty member, perhaps that's from a supervisor in a basic job in the past, or an internship that you've held. Requesting recommendation is a great thing to do. With interest, you can follow groups. Make sure to join the Boston College Career Community. We're going to talk about that. Maybe there's companies, influencers, following Boston College, or other community-related things that you want to follow. That's a great thing to do. So now that we talked about the profile, let's come back over because we're ready to talk about finding alums and how to reach out to them and what to say. So where can you find professionals? On LinkedIn. Let's shift gears, go back to LinkedIn, and now we're going to talk about networking. As I just mentioned, the Boston College Career Community is a group on LinkedIn. You can search it, you can find it, you request to join. The Boston College Career Center does manage that group. You have to request to join. Within a day or two, you'll be admitted into that group. The great thing about being in that group is you can directly message members. Normally you have to be a first connection to directly message someone on LinkedIn, but being in a group together is a workaround. You can directly message them. And there are more than 15,000 people in the Boston College Career Community group. So that's a pretty good number of people to look through. There also is the Boston College School page. So when we click on that, here's a quick screenshot of that. This is what it looks like. Within 20 seconds, you can find alumni that live in a certain part of the country, or the world for that matter. You can quickly find where they work, what they say they're skilled at, what their major might have been, a lot of different great variables. And this is a screenshot, but if I were on LinkedIn Live, I would be able to see below the fold here those alumni that, in this case, I was doing a search for a company called Epsilon. I could look in the Boston area, and those people who are at Epsilon, who are BC alumni, would be below the fold pretty quick. Here's another way that, if you're doing a job search, you click on the briefcase icon for LinkedIn. You're looking at summer interns, and as you can see here, I did a search for summer intern in Boston. It pulls back some results, and I can see which each one of those results, how many alums are there. With MathWorks, this example, I can see there are 27 Boston College alumni who are there. With Senage, the company that's below that, I can see I directly have a connection who works there. So this makes an awesome shortcut for finding alumni, connecting with alumni, having conversations with alumni, who are employed at organizations you are considering applying to for an internship or a full-time job for that matter. Maybe there are companies, so another route for finding alumni, maybe there are companies that I'm trying to make some inroads with and do a little networking. Maybe I'd love to work at Google. Here's a quick example of a screenshot. I can go to Google, I can click on see, X number of employees who work at Google. When I get to that page, I can then click on all filters. School is a filter. Type in Boston College. I get 185 alumni back. I can then start filtering a little bit more. And now I'm ready to go. How do I start off? We use Google as an example. There are 185 alumni at Google. So how do I even start with where to go? I might start off with selecting contacts where we have mutual friends essentially in common, and especially people where those mutual friends are stronger connections. I could definitely reach out to that person directly, or if I really want to make some inroads with that person who could be a highly sought after company, I might also go the route of asking one of those mutual contacts, sort of one of those mutual friends, for an introduction to that person. That's another way to go to also increase your yield rate. I might also start off with younger professionals when I'm really kind of new at this, when I'm trying to build some information about a particular company. It's a good way to go. Not only will that younger alum maybe be more likely to respond to me because they had been in my shoes not that long ago, but I can also ask them maybe a little bit more basic questions to build that knowledge that I can then use as I work my way up to finding alumni, other professionals at a company with a higher title. Sometimes I might look at an organization that I'm really interested in trying to learn more about, but the Boston College alumni at that particular company, maybe they're doing a role that I really don't have as much interest in. It doesn't line up with my concentrations. Still think about reaching out to them. Focus questions around corporate culture, tips they have in general for breaking in, what's the structure of the organization, industry related questions, go that route. And as you build some rapport with the person, you can always ask them for referrals for other people who may be doing different things you're interested in, or a little bit closer to what you're interested in. So how do you reach out? We've talked about ways to find alumni on LinkedIn. Now I'm ready to pull the trigger button. I'm ready to message someone directly. I might click that connect button, request to connect. I get 300 characters to work with. I'm going to quickly introduce myself. If there's anything of common with that alum, I can mention it in there, and that you would love to talk with them through email, over the phone, whatever that might be, to learn more about their career path. 300 characters is a lot, actually more than you would realize. So, think about what you might put in that as a compelling, quick message to get the alum to write back. That's the goal. Maybe you want to get off of LinkedIn. There are a couple of tools that are out there because LinkedIn can be an extra step. So maybe you find a professional through LinkedIn, and then maybe you decide you want to reach out to them directly through their email, their work email. Chrome has a couple of different extensions that you can use, as you can see on this slide. It will allow you to figure out what that company's email setup is. So is it first name dot last name at company.com, or is it first initial last name at company.com? That will allow you to figure out what that might be and then directly email that person. You can get pretty far with LinkedIn for sure, but maybe there might be some reasons you want to directly email that person and kind of take out the middleman of LinkedIn and get the conversation moving a little bit faster. Cold emails look the same way pretty much as that cold contact LinkedIn message on the earlier slide. You want to think about having an effective subject line, something to grab their attention and not to think immediately it's spam. You might make reference to Boston College immediately in that subject line. That's a good way to go. Address the person by first name. So think of this as a very formal email, very polite, very formal. You're going to communicate why you're reaching out, how you obtain their information. Maybe you initially found them on LinkedIn and wanted to directly message them through their email to get the conversation rolling. And then you're going to go in for a very polite ask. Maybe you want to talk with them over the phone or a video call to learn more about their industry, their career, feedback that they might have on your experiences and what they think might be good to do to develop more skills fitting for that organization. So think about what the ask might be and make sure at every step of the way you thank them for their time and you're never asking for a job or internship, whether it was that LinkedIn message or a cold email, you're never asking for a job. You can certainly ask at the end of the conversation, you feel like you have a good vibe going, you can ask them for referrals for other people to talk to that they think might be a great fit for you to learn from. That's the key word, always learning. And make sure to thank them after you have that conversation with them. Thank them for their time. Very important to do. Here's a quick example of what you can write in that email. Again, it's pretty short, it's to the point. Whether you attach a resume or not is something to think about, but it also can weigh down that person responding to you quickly. When you prep for the conversation, again, as we talked about, you're going to be asking questions. You're the driver for those questions. So you're going to go for career field, organization, path or journey, or tips for breaking in. These are all the different areas that you can go for. And make sure you know their LinkedIn profile, make sure you know what their background is, and make sure to thank them and ask for other referrals. LinkedIn has some great resources that you can use under the Learning tab on LinkedIn. So they have great student profiles that you can take a look at, as well as, ways to talk with people that you might find on LinkedIn. So thank you for watching this video. We have a whole bunch more under career tutorials, so take advantage of those, and thank you.